Hi everyone, welcome to Sarah Lynn Stamps. I wanted to just jump on quickly and talk to you today about heat embossing. In a recent workshop I had some questions about embossing. We made a card similar to this one, but this one was just a demo that I showed them where we had done some embossing here in the sentiment as well as these leaves here, and you can see that they're just shiny and they're a little bit raised. And embossing is a really easy way to add dimension and texture and just a little fancy up your card a little bit. I want to show you today how to do that. So we're going to make another card today that I can show you a few different applications of embossing, not only just heating them and using them sort of as an accent. So let me show you how that works. So what you need to do heat embossing are a few simple tools. Of course, you need stamps. So today we're going to use the Well Done set. This is one of my favorites, and I'm sure to be one of your favorites soon too. It's so cute, and it has so many different sentiments for different occasions. So from thanks to well done, like well done, sorry, congratulations, love, and birthday. So there's just so many different types of occasions that you can use this set for, and these images are just adorable. So you could use this on a fun kids card. You could also use this on a really beautiful watercoloring type cards. Like this is really versatile to be used on a number of different types of cards and different styles. So one of my favorites, and we're going to use this one today. So what else do you need besides stamps? You need Versamark. So this is just kind of a clear sticky ink that holds the embossing powder onto it. So this has no color to it. It just depends which type of embossing powder you use, which color you're going to get. So today, on the card that I showed you, we used a gold embossing powder. And so Stampin' Up! Has gold. They also have a silver embossing powder, but today we're going to use two different ones. We're going to use white embossing powder, and we're going to use clear embossing powder. So these ones look the same in the container, so it's really important that you kind of keep them separate and you know which one is which. They're easy to mix up, but we have white and we have clear, and we're going to use both of those today along with our Versamark. And the other thing that you need for heat embossing is a heat tool. So this one is the older style of Stampin' Up's heat tool. I have had mine for about 12 years now, so it is a little bit of an investment, but once you have it, it honestly will last you a long time. So this is a heat tool, and no, you cannot use a blow dryer. A blow dryer doesn't get up to the temperature that you need in order to emboss. So a blow dryer won't work. It'll just blow around your powder and you won't get the effect that you're looking for. So you definitely need to invest in a heat tool if you want to start incorporating embossing into your stamping or your crafting. All right, let's get started. So what we're going to start with is actually a piece of designer series paper from the Well Done suite. Actually, I think the suite's called something else, but it goes along with the Well Done set. The Well Done set. And heat embossing on designer series paper just really takes it up to another level and is a great way to add some dimension and interest to your cards very simply. So this is a simple card, a simple embossing project that I want to share with you today. But our designer series paper creates such a nice background for us to be able to do that. So we're going to use one of my favorite stamps from that set today, and that is the little squid. I don't know if you can even see that on it, but he is just adorable. I love him so much. And so when you're embossing, you are going to need something to put underneath of your paper to collect the embossing powder. So I just use an old scrap paper. It doesn't have to be like this. It can be, or you could use even a card. Anything that I find that has a little bit of a fold in it. And then we're going to use that as a funnel to put the embossing powder back into the container. So I'm just going to set this underneath here. And what we're going to do is take our Versamark pad, and we are going to stamp a couple of these squids on here. And again, we're going to be embossing these. So, and it doesn't dry too fast. You don't need to really worry about hurrying all that much. I mean, you don't want to take forever, but you can kind of think about what you want to do. So now, as you can see, you can kind of tell where the image is. It's a little bit wet there. But until you emboss it, you're not really going to see. We're going to go ahead and emboss these guys in white. So this is how I do it. Other people have different techniques. Some people have it all in a container and they just kind of scoop their paper in there. I just kind of pour over my images where I am with the white embossing powder. Now, one of the things is due to static electricity, sometimes your embossing powder gets where you don't want it. I find if you flip it over, you just give it a little bit of a flick like this, you're going to get a lot of that extra embossing powder off. These little see guys, it really doesn't matter that much how perfect you get it, because it just kind of adds to the little shimmery legs or the little bubbles that you would see in the water around the guy. So, and then I just take this, fold it, and funnel it back in. Now I do this right away because, like I said, I don't want to, one, have melted embossing powder all over my workspace, and two, I don't want to get my white and my clear mixed up. So I'm going to just go like this. So now we see we have kind of a dusty or a matte sort of powder on top of our paper. And once we start heating it, you're going to see the magic happen. So it takes a minute for your heat gun to heat up, and it's going to get a little noisy for a minute here. But we're just going to put this over top of where the powder is. And it does get quite hot, so you're not going to want to put this directly onto your skin. But as it starts to emboss, you're going to notice, see how it's changing from a matte to a shiny finish? And when it's shiny all over, you know that it's done. So it doesn't take very long. And there you go. That's all that's to it. So we added the powder with the Versamark, and then we heat set it. And now we have this shiny image on top, and the white just really pops off of the paper. So not only is it shiny, but it's also dimensional on there. So it adds a lot of interest. Now, something else I wanted to show you with this is we can do a technique with embossing powder called Emboss Resist. And I'm going to show you that if I can get my ink pad. So I'm going to pull out Pacific Point ink. And this is one of the colors that is in the suite. And one of the fantastic things about the suites is it tells you which colors are in that designer paper and what coordinates well. So it just makes it really easy. And I'm going to use a sponge, and I'm going to dab onto my ink pad. And then I'm just going to do some circular motions over top of where I stamp my squids. And the reason I'm doing this is I just kind of want them to stand out a little bit more on my project. So now they're kind of a little bit blue, but as we rub them, the color is going to resist off of where we embossed. And so we're going to end up again with our nice, sorry, I have a squeaky table, it sounds like. So we're going to end up with a nice white embossed image again on top of our paper. And so you can tell where that is kind of resisted the ink. And I'm just going to add a little bit more onto our project here to kind of balance out the color throughout. And again, I'm just dabbing it on here, like just gently, and just putting a few swirls across my paper. So just so I don't have one big blue blob and no blue anywhere else, I'm just kind of adding some blue in various places on my paper. So anyways, so that's Emboss Resist. And you can do that with any color on any type of embossing. So if you had clear on white and you did that, you would just see the white paper through. But because we did white, we've got the white that's left after. So that's Emboss Resist, and something else that you can do with embossed images. Something else that I wanted to show you that's really easy is you can emboss in any color. So what I have here for our sentiments is I have a piece that is 2.5 by 3/4, I believe, 3/4 inch. And we're going to stamp our sentiment on here. So I'm using the one that says, "My love for you is bigger than the ocean." And you can emboss in any color. So this is what's really fun. If you stamp on your Versamark pad first, and then follow it with the color that you want, you're going to end up with that color of embossing. And so embossing, the reason that you might want to do that is it just, again, adds some dimension, and it also adds some shine. So it's going to just add a little bit of something, something to your card. And I don't know if I've got enough blue on here, but let's give it a go. I didn't. So I want to try that again. I'm going to clean this off because I don't want blue on my Versamark. So I'm going to just give that a little clean. Make sure that I've kind of cleaned it up. I'm going to stamp it again on my Versamark. And then I'm going to stamp it up really good on my Pacific Point blue. Make sure that I've got it covered. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, much better. So now you can see that I've got the blue on there, but because I have the Versamark, it's going to hold the embossing powder again. I'm going to use clear embossing powder because I want it to show up blue. I don't want to cover it up with white. Pull out my paper. And again, you have a little bit of time, so you don't have to fret. I'm gonna just cover that on there. Nice that paper has two sides, so we don't have to worry about making a mistake. Okay, so let's set that aside and funnel this back into our clear container. Save that for next time. I'm gonna close this up. And then I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss this. Now, because it's little, I don't really want to blow it away. So I'm just going to use my take a pick tool. And I'm just going to use that to hold it while I emboss. And I'm going to switch hands because I'm right-handed. So you don't have to worry about burning your paper or moving it like that. It's not going to burn your paper. I mean, I guess if you left it there forever, but I don't know if you can see it, but it's starting to change and you can see the shine, and that's how we know that it's done. So can you see the shine on there? Oh, my fingers are all inky today. There. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so let's finish our project here quickly and I'll show you what I did. So using the same Pacific Point, we're going to add some fish, because every ocean needs fish. And I'm going to use this little guy again. Get rid of that guy. We're going to stamp it on Pacific Point, and I'm going to just stamp it off. And this is going to add a little bit of, make them look like they're a little farther away and not kind of the focus, because these little guys are going to be the focus of our card. And you really can put them wherever you want. So in order to balance out some of that blue, I might just put these little guys down here too. I'm going to take these little bubbles, and actually it was kind of funny. The first time I did this, I put them over top of the squid, and then I kind of thought it looked like the squid were maybe dying, so that didn't work out so good. So I'm going to start first with these little seahorses. So these guys are adorable. And I want to balance out this orangey color here. I'm going to just use Poppy Parade. Maybe. The new ink pads, when you first get them, they're just a little stiff, and so you got to kind of work them in. All that means is you got to stamp, which is, everybody wants to do that. That's no problem. So I'm just going to add some of these little red guys, and I'm going to do this full strength. When you put it onto the darker paper, it just kind of blends in. It doesn't look quite so bright. So let's see. But I got this red bush down here, or coral down here, so I don't need too much extra red, but maybe I'll stamp one off and stick them over here. There we go. We'll add a little bit like that. Now, just to balance out the blue, I'm going to take those little bubbles I was talking about, and I'm going to stamp those in Pacific Point, but I'm going to stamp those full strength. So I'm just going to add a couple here. You can add them wherever you want, wherever you're like, I need to add a little bit of color, a little bit of interest. You can stamp off the edge. So again, because we've got living movement here, we don't want it to look like we've got a little bit of a picture frame. We want it to actually look like it's an ocean of movement. I might stick this here. All right, let's call that a day. So we've added some, of course not. There you go. Okay, so we've embossed our squids here. We've added a little emboss resist with the sponging of the blue around our embossing, which has resist the ink. We embossed our sentiment onto here, and now we're going to attach our sentiment, and we're almost done our card. So I'm going to use dimensionals, and this is just the end of a sheet, but these are just little foam adhesives that are double-sided, which lift up whatever you add them to. They just lift it off of the layer below it so that it gives it a little bit of interest. So we're going to just do that. And again, they're double-sided, so you just pull off the paper on the back. And I'm going to just put this right about here. And I want to also put these on dimensionals. Look at the back side of that paper. Isn't that just the cutest? And it comes with a punch that you can use to actually just punch out these whales right off of the paper. That would just be a really nice addition to this card also. But today we're just going to stick with the squid. So I'm going to just use the back side because I am not wasting these dimensionals for nothing. So I'm going to mount this onto card base, which is Pacific Point, which matches sort of the coloring and stamping that we've done today. And there we have it. This is our stamp and embossed card. And this is a really great way to start and to try out different embossing techniques. It's just on some of this designer paper that's going to contribute to the whole overall picture. And you don't need a lot on a card like this, especially when it has a lot of different images in it. There's a lot that's already happening on your card. And so I just want to encourage you to just get out there and try it and just stamp. And I'm trying to show you if you can see the shine and the dimension on here, but it's beautiful and it really does bring this card to life. So I encourage you to just get out there and give it a go, and I hope you enjoy heat embossing. And if you have any questions, by all means just put them in the comments or send me a message, and I'd love to just chat with you more about this. Happy stamping!